Chris, you were here too? Beautiful. So we're excited to partner with Sir Guitars and Chris, our wonderful rep here, to bring you another phenomenal artist. This guy does not need any introduction. It shows by who is here, who's already smiling, who's ready to be inspired, who's ready to see this guy blow our faces off. No pressure.
You're going to be disappointed in that, yeah. We'll let you down.
We don't need any more introduction, other than I do have to say this. Make sure we have a number of giveaways going on. A couple pedals, a couple sets of Andy's pickups. So make sure you fill out the QR code because you gotta be here. You gotta enter to win. You gotta be present to win. So make sure you sign up for that. Otherwise, while he's playing these amazing Sir guitars and this amazing Sir amp, keep in mind that one cannot, but all Sir guitars can be yours. They are all on sale tonight. This amp is on sale tonight as well, so he will autograph any part of that you want if you pay for it.
Oh, you can buy this one. I'll let you buy this one. It's just going to be real expensive.
Fair enough. So, all Sir guitars are on sale tonight. Talk to any one of the sales guys in here. We'll make you a great deal. Get one of these amazing instruments in your hand. I can speak from experience. I fell in love a couple years ago, and I will never turn back. Amazing, amazing guitars. So, all that to say, everyone, please give a warm Firehouse welcome to Andy Wood. Let's do this.
I was just informed by my lovely comrade here within the Sir family that I am wearing a Gibson hoodie. Who in here has seen my videos and live streams before? All right, everybody knows that that's on brand. I'm going to do something ridiculous, right? Like, here to talk about the Les Paul and the Firebird today, and Mesa Boogie amplifiers. Well, we all know if that's what I wanted to play, that's what I would play, but I'm not because this is the best. I mean, to me, everybody's got to find their own lane. Do I own Les Pauls and Boogie amplifiers? I do. I do. But when push comes to shove, I'm not going to get my diesel, I'm not going to get my Fender, I'm not going to get that stuff, and I've got to play my own stuff and do my thing that, frankly, I pay the mortgage with. Like, I've toured professionally for what feels like a long time, and I started playing music when I was a kid, when I was about 5 years old, playing bluegrass with my family. At about 17, I heard Brent Mason play a solo on the Mark O'Connor Nashville Cats record, and that changed my life. And I went out and got a Telecaster and started trying to chicken pick. And then I heard Steve Morris and the Dixie Dregs and Eric Johnson and all this stuff, and Van Halen. And it's like, that's where life took me. And I started playing professionally at 17 and started touring on what I would call the big boy stage, like arenas and people carrying your shit for you, you know what I mean? Like around 2014. And of course, through the course of my career, man, I've played all kinds of stuff. I really have, but, and I still have all kinds of stuff. And I stand by the idea that if you've only got one kind of pedal on your pedal board, you're probably a serial killer, you know what I mean? Like, I stand behind the idea that, variety matters. But at some point, you can only play one guitar at a time. You can only have one amp rolling at one time, And for me, it's like I've never been happier with my sound than I have been over the past 4 years-ish. Like post-COVID, I really felt like I started finding my voice. Because COVID was an interesting turning point. Maybe we'll talk about some of that, the writing questions and things like that. But it was a turning point where, like, I had been on the road straight my entire adult life. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey man, you got 13 months where you ain't gonna go nowhere. And it allowed me to self-reflect and find my voice. And right now, I've been super happy. There's a lot of products that were developed during that time frame. One was the Woodshed comp with Kevin. That really was a big thing for me because being a Tennessee boy, I'm a compressor-aholic. I've got a shelf with all of them. Dynacomps, Cali 76, Barber Tone Press, Carl Martin compressor. I really like the Carl Martin, but I had to have 3 of them because it kept breaking on the road. It's like, so everything, you're searching for your thing, and finally it came down to it. We came up with the Woodshed compressor out of, the designs that I liked and the sounds that I liked. And the things that I didn't like, don't put those things in it, That was all during that time of COVID. These pickups being Alnico 2, which is, I don't want to get too far down the weeds of tech talk, but like, Alnico 2 is what King Edward used in a lot of pickups, the Frankenstein, the Wolfgangs, all that stuff, especially later in life, Ed, post Wet, Dry, Wet, Ed. And Billy Gibbons, big Alnico 2 guy. And I noticed that for me, I have a really strong pick attack, and this will probably come up, so we'll go ahead and demonstrate it now. I play way harder than it looks. So it's like people see me play and they go, man, you got such a light touch. I'm like, I don't know about that. And for me, a lot of that, as you could hear the guitar acoustically, there's a lot of that really pronounced 3K, which can be a painful frequency. So I prefer a pickup that will tame some of that, because I'm not in a John Sykes tribute band, right? It's like he did his thing and had all that top end, that scoop sound is really great. It's like finding your voice, right? Like that's really something that I like to talk about at clinics is what it means to find your voice and your sound, things make you comfortable. For me, it's this stuff. And that's a segue, I think, in the industry. That's a segue to the next. I want to do another song for you, and kind of just show you what I'm talking about. Okay. I just heard that turn on, and I immediately looked at the amp. I was like, if you blow up right now after that spiel, we have a whole new problem. And, and that's the thing. It's like I'm really blessed. I was able to get a hold of a 1969 100-watt super lead that previously belonged to Eric Johnson. So if when I say this sounds like a Marshall, but better because you can buy it today and you don't have to worry about it falling apart, I have beat it apples to apples. On my record, I use this more than the EJ Marshall. Nobody's putting a gun to my head to do that. I want to make the best record possible. This just got a really nice vocal range. We have talked about, even on the drive up here, Chris was like, hey man, you should bring the EJ head out to SUR and just document it, just till we know for sure. I don't know who knows the Marshall lineage, but Marshall wasn't in the lane of trying to put together amplifiers that were perfect and flawless every time, like these or Bella's, or any top-end company really. Like the idea is there is no difference from this SL68 to the one you would order or the next guy would have. When Marshall was doing their thing in the 60s, when they ran out of a part, they were like, this one's only a couple of numbers away. We'll just use that capacitor now. You know what I mean? So it made the amps really not the same. You have 400-watt super leads and there's not the same. So that's another testament to like why I like this amp so much. And it's 100 watts, which is awesome, He said, you want to play the SL15? I was like, no, I want to play a 100-watt amp. And for me, again, it goes back to the picking attack. It's not as lighthearted and as the jokes may roll, I'm not doing it to fulfill my fragile ego. I'm doing it because 100-watt amplifiers and big transformers, they provide an immediacy that responds like an acoustic guitar, there is no latency or sag, which a lot of guys might like. Like Yngwie plays 50-watt Marshalls and it sounds like Yngwie and it's the greatest thing ever. But like when I play it, I feel like the amp's getting to the game late for me. I like to have that instant thing. And we'll talk about all that kind of good stuff with the guitar too. It's like, you can have the single coil version and then you can overdub with a different guitar or have this and that. But like songs like what I'm about to play, I have to change tones within the song, and I don't have the luxury of being in the studio. So another thing that I look for is not versatility for versatility's sake, or a guitar like this trying to be all things to all people. It just, hey man, I've got to do, like in Life is a Highway, I've got to do these like really watery kind of chords. And then, it's got to go back to, and then I've also got to have the front intro that's kind of, it's got to have like a little bit of that spank, all that kind of stuff. So let's play another one. This song's really hard, so if I mess it up, don't post it on YouTube. It's not cool. safe. Huh? The what? Oh, yeah, he said play it up to speed. Yeah. He's getting even with me. I told everybody at Sweetwater we were going to give away his watch for 2 days. Yeah. So now I went to clinics and workshops and stuff kind of coming up. Now they were all in like the bluegrass kind of scene. But one of the things I like to do here is immediately open the floor for conversation. I used to go to these types of things and wait till the end of the night, and then they didn't ever talk about the thing that I wanted them to talk about. And it was awesome, but I was like, man, I wish you would have just told me how to play that thing or talked about that one piece of gear, you know? So I'm trying to course correct and lead by example and not wait till the end of the night to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So please, I encourage you, if you've got a question, throw your hand up, and we will start the clinic with that kind of thing in mind, you know? Yeah, there we go. What do you say?
I got you, Jimbo.
How many pedals do you have?
All of them. No. Really, my pedal board is set up. It's based around I was about to say something real stupid. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the sentence. It's based around what they call a gig rig, but like, it's a buddy of mine, Daniel Steinhardt. You guys probably know him from that pedal show. His company makes this thing called gig rig, and I've got them on all my touring boards. I used to be an RJM guy, and that stuff was great until I beat it with the gig rig, and the gig rig just sounded more pure. One of the things that it's really important to me is that the fundamental tone of guitar cable amp is not messed with. And think of a switching system having every pedal on its own loop. So every pedal that I have up here is always on, but I'm not using that loop at all. So my signal never goes through that pedal unless I want that effect. I basically have 4 presets, and the amount of pedals, to answer your question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pedals. But 2 of those pedals are like gag effects, like a joke, like a fuzz and chorus and flanger. One of those pedals is a reverb that I'd never use. I only have it on if we play outside, you know, and it's super dry, or if I use it to like emulate, you know, a spring reverb or something. So really, I'm just using 4 pedals all night. I'll walk you through that. First things first, because I want to play with the delay. I have a Andy Timmons Keeley Halo, and I run it with a expression pedal, so I don't have to make redundant presets. As it's just, here's dry with my heel down. And as I roll my foot forward, so it's kind of like having that lovely lush thing on a bus, you know, if you're mixing a record or something. And I find that super beneficial because I can have my clean thing. And then it can also be the same patch. You know, all this is still the same sound. You know, nothing has changed down here. I'm getting the mileage out of the instrument itself, and hopefully these. So preset number 1, the Halo's on every preset with that expression thing, okay? Outside of that, preset number 1 is an EQ pedal and my compressor. The reason there's an EQ pedal is because I set the amp super dark so the overdrives will sound nice. If you set an amp bright and use overdrive pedals, it does this, whatever that is, that I don't like. But this is like, you know. That sounds nice to me, you know. It's not painful. And then if I want like super gonzo gain, the amp is dark and I can go to kind of get you in that guy's territory, you know. So reference, I think, is important. I'm a big fan of show me, don't tell me. Here's without the with it. It's just doing some sparkles. It's making up for what I have turned out of the amp. And I think it's better to do things that way when you're using pedals for your gain. Now, the fun part of the show, to me, my pride and joy on my pedal board is my woodshed compressor. It just makes everything better. Whatever you have, it's MSG for your tone. So, here's without it. It's just more of everything, more of the sheen. Back pickup, chicken picking stuff. You know, so it is the secret weapon if there was such a thing. It just makes everything sound better. The next thing is introducing that same equation to a modified blues driver. It's the Andy AT mod that I think now is called Muse Driver, question mark, Muse Driver. It was the AT mod, and they did like a limited run, like 100 pedals or 150 pedals or something like that. He's gonna hold up the new one. Mine doesn't look like that. Mine's in like a candy apple red housing, but it's the same thing as that. So let's take a listen at that, what that's doing now. That real, whatever that faint, if you mess up, it's like eggs breaking. You know what I mean? You got to walk very carefully on that kind of tone. just makes everything feel like you've mixed the record. It's a term that I use when I think about what it does. So be sure to see your Sir dealer and buy a couple of those. It's my favorite pedal on the board. Next up is a Pantheon and the compressor. That's like... it's that thing, right? Like classic, or it's also like the Junktown thing. It's got that almost Tool thing, right? It'll do that thing. But without the compressor, again, I keep going back to that. I think that's a great tone. It's perfectly acceptable. But now it's going to be more better. You can really get that kind of woody bark thing out of it. Now, I know Ed didn't use a compressor, but he also didn't do anything like what I'm doing. I'm doing it a different way. But it's cool. I think it's cool. Now, the next pedal is the Wampler Gearbox. It's the only time I turn the compressor off. It's got plenty of gain and plenty of compression. We don't need any more, right? Like that'll hurt you. And I use the mids kind of like the top end, like bass and treble are straight up and down. And I'm gonna roll in the mids. You'll hear how the teeth kind of come through. You know, it's kind of got that. It's back, get you back into it. Here is just the red side combined with the compressor. So first no compressor, then the red side with it. When I've got both sides on, I don't use a compressor. For childish tomfoolery. Yeah. Next question, please. Yeah, please. Yeah, this is an iPad. It's made by Apple, and you just take your backing track and put it right on it. It'll play the whole thing. Craziest thing I've ever seen, man. Look at that thing. That's a whole band. No, in all seriousness, the tracks you heard were from the new record, Charisma, and it was a bit of a mission statement. It was the record I made during COVID. It was the record I made when my granddad died. It was just like this. This is all the things that I feel, and I started with 53 demos and then ended with the 10 or 11 songs that's on the record. And I did everything with intent to be the most authentic to myself, and that meant no string omnisphere, no plug-ins. So every violin that you hear, every cello, every single piece that you hear on that record was recorded. Like even the Asian instruments that are on Cherry Blossoms, the koto and things like that. I actually got the guy that did the music for Elden Ring. His name's Zach. He did the koto and the shakuhachi and stuff on the record, which is really cool. And yeah, Matt Menifee playing banjo on Free Range Chicken, which is like my ode de dregs, I guess, if there is such a thing. But yeah, you're asking about composition, and that's really funny because the topic of the week has been, John Williams and great composers. I was actually playing some of this stuff before people got here, just for sound check. A great piece of music to me, and something that connects with me, at least where I'm at in my life now, has very little to do with difficulty or barrier of entry. if you know what I'm saying. Like, it's cool to see somebody slapping and tapping all over it. That's cool. I mean, but like I can be on Instagram for 20 minutes and see 30 of those types of players and I don't remember a single thing. I remember that they're all good, but if you ask me to sing so-and-so's tune, I couldn't do it because there's no song there. It's like being all dressed up with nowhere to go. Like you got, you nerds in the house, you fellow nerds. It's like if you had the musical equivalent of the Infinity Gauntlet and you had every stone of music power and you could do anything. What would you do? Because you still have to take that last step. Because if not, you're just going to be a good guitar player. You're not going to be a good musician. And I know this is a bit nerdy and heady and prolific for what your question is, but I think it's the most honest answer. And the most honest answer is, what's the melody? What's the melody? What's the song? You guys with keen ears probably heard me hint around at right now, the piano part. Everybody plays Van Halen licks. Who plays the piano parts? They're just as important. I mean, if I sit up here and play, you guys would know what I was playing, even all the way down to, you know. It's all of the things that make up the Van Halen songs. It's all the things that make up the compositional aspects. And to me, the greatest living musician of my lifetime, and this is hot take, super hot take, I think it's John Williams. I think John Williams is our generation, our lifetime's Mozart or Bach or Beethoven or Rachmaninoff or whatever, because everybody in this room is a music fan, I would venture to say. Most of you are guitar fans, I would venture to say. If I played on the street, somebody would go, oh, he's playing Star Wars, sick. I could go to the middle of a country I've never been to, play that, and they'd be like, oh, and I'd be like, yeah, it's the thing, you know it. You know what I'm doing, right? So, like, those are the surface level John Williams things. And then you dig a little deeper and you get some Raiders of the Lost Ark again. So, you know, songs about dinosaurs. And down on the second layer of the John Williams catalog is really where your answer lies to me with this stuff, all of this orchestration. I really got into this specific melody, and this kind of led me on a path. I'm probably going to mess it up. Everybody know that one? The Haunted Leia's theme from Bespin and Empire Strikes Back. So I got into it, you know, during COVID, and I just started, like, I've always been a fan of his music. Like, I love the Disney films. They always have really great music. Like, movies, video game songs connect with me. Like, I'll play one for the young kids here. This is going to be aging me because it's no longer new. Maybe this is for you guys, not those guys. Maybe it's that. Like, 18-year-old me thought that was the coolest shit I had ever heard in my life. And it's Steve Vai with the big dip, and it's the orchestration. It's like, you know, but I mean, I was in from the get-go. You know, all that kind of stuff, right? These are timeless melodies that transcend the idea of musician. You've now transcended into the world, pop culture, communication to those that don't play, communication to those that may not even be fortunate enough to have a record player, or a CD player, or an iPod. People in the middle of the most desolate parts of the world, you can play some of these things and their faces light up. That is the measurement of great music to me. As much as I love you guys, I don't want to make music that only connects with guitar players. I have failed myself on my mission statement, you know. A great song is the most important thing, and a great song transcends all the gear and everything. Like I played this one at Sweetwater, just a moment of it, but like, this is like the most dangerous thing because you never play this in a music store, but I'm about to play it in a music store. Same key, ironically. Something to be said about the key of D. You know, it's like, that's such a beautiful song. It's just like, you take any of your favorite melodies, your favorite songs, and strip it all away. Strip away the solos, strip away all the stuff, and it'll stand on its own. I mean, they all do, right? What if we even... You know, it's like you can sit here for hours and find all your favorite songs and realize that they don't have to be, you know, the way Steve did it, to know how strong that melody is. If you were playing on a piano or a harp or a trumpet, you'd be like, God, what is that? I know that. This happened earlier at Soundcheck. I was playing I can see the drop ships right now, and Anakin and Padme. It's like, it's so powerful. It takes me to another space. So when I'm trying to compose and I'm trying to write, the starting of Charisma was the first song. And all of the 15 minutes that I've been talking and playing examples, it all distills down to, what did I want the listener to hear? First thing on my new record that means a lot to me, that Bonamassa has got a guest solo on, Brent Mason's on it, and Jimmy T from Dream Theater mixed it, and all these things are about the record. At this point, I have to make a decision and say, what's the first thing you guys are going to hear when you put it on? Not a guitar. That was number one. I do not want the first thing you hear to be a guitar. It's a snare drum. Next thing, I don't want you to hear hot playing. Next thing, I don't want you to hear a lot of chords. The first chords to the record is just 1 and 5 of a beat. So you don't know if it's major or minor yet. That's with intent. That's the decision I wanted to make. That's what I want you to know, that we're going to go on a journey, and there's going to be all kinds of things happen. But the first 30 seconds of my song, anybody in this room can play if they've been playing for a couple of weeks, tops. You know, it's just a B chord with no thirds. Now, the next decision was to be like, all right, it's time to give them something. And that was to say, we're going to do a pretty melody, but I don't want it to be stock. A stock melody may be something like, real pretty in B. That's the lick that everybody kind of plays. If we don't know if it's a minor, that could be a minor chord. It could be, it could also be maybe Ingve. It could be whatever it is. It's not. I didn't want anything on the nose. So I looked into the Danny Elfman catalog and the Hans Zimmer catalog and the John Williams, and I noticed there's this reoccurring thing that happens in theory that I love, which is a major scale with a flat 6. So if you have the major scale, I'm only going to move one note. I'm going to take that 6 and move it down a half step. I was like, that's it. That's how you start the song. We're going to do some different shit. It's not going to be what you get every day, you know? And in my mind, it was like this gunslinger. Like, I could just vision this dude in this trench coat. But for some reason, he was on the moon in space fighting aliens. You know what I mean? It's like, still had that Western thing. And that's where the whole melody came from. Really safe. Little curve right there. And I can play this melody with no chords, and it will stand on its own, at least in my opinion. That's how I knew it was right. And compositionally, I can put everything around it. The organ can have weird things that I can compose for that, you know, that's I can do all these weird movements throughout it. I can have tremolos moving. I can do things. I can have things. But if the melody's not strong enough, none of that stuff matters. And so it's making sure that what I'm working on at the beginning is the most solid, that then I can bring it up and put the fuzz and the shred stuff and do all the things to it. Versus, I think an intermediate writer or myself just maybe even 10 short years ago, I was writing with the intent of, I've got this lick that's awesome. I'm going to write this whole song around this lick. Or look at this thing, or this. It was starting from the wrong spot. And it was starting from the idea of trying to impress somebody else versus trying to say something that I thought was powerful. And that's where all the gear and stuff work together. Like, it's all just one cohesive idea to send music out in the world that I believe in. And I think music has to have just a tinge of selfishness. Because if you don't believe in what you're playing, how the hell is anybody else in the room going to believe it? You know what I mean? And if you're going to sit there and go, oh, man, Andy's here, I better... And it's like, man, that's not you. Or it's like, oh, man, Eddie Van Halen fans. It's not genuine. I would rather hear somebody confidently, really confidently play this. that's a statement, and that transcends difficulty. And when we talk about, it's a statement that transcends however difficult or technical or what instrument it's on. It's bigger than all that stuff, right? That to me is the magic. And you don't get it all the time. Hell, you don't even get it most days out of the month. But if you can just grab it once a month or twice a month, it'll keep you locked into music forever, because it's that drug that just, oh, that sounds cool. That's really cool sounding. And that's where a lot of my learning and stuff comes from. I've been really obsessed with the fake slide thing, faux slide. I'm not a great slide player, but man, I love Dwayne Allman and Derek Trucks, and I've been really working on that kind of sound. Let's see if I can do some of it and it not be terrible. Look at it, it kind of sounds slide-esque, kind of get some of that stuff happening. And that doesn't come from the source of, man, where's the tab, or what's the real way to do it? You just have to get in there with your ear and poke it out. No nail. No. It's because it hurts if one of them gets pulled off. That sucks. It hurts. So I was just like, no. So actually what happens is, like, the end of my finger ended up building up a little bit of callus. And so it kind of gives me that. It sounds nice. That's another reason why I like the 100-watt heads. All of that, like, little bit of spit that I can control. It's really hard to get a small wattage amp to do it. I mean, I'm not hating on you guys over here. You guys are great, but you need big iron to get it to, like, do that. All of that string noise that sounds like the glass on the fret, especially with, like, the. It sounds like Delta E to me, and I love that. So, that's just kind of the thing I'm into. One of many things, and trying to learn from places that aren't just another guitar solo that's ripping fast. I mean, I love all that stuff too. I love all the. Let's do that cleaner. All those kind of licks are fun. But they've got to serve a purpose greater than, hey, look at me. So let's play another song. Question while I'm getting another song set up, and then we'll jump over to talking about these other guitars. Yeah.
I've never hybrid picked before, and I have been living nonstop with the Brent Mason solo on free range chicken, and I've got it down about 90%. But at the end of that, you do your
Foolishness.
and so my son's like, you'll never be able to do that.
It's brutal.
And so
What does it say in the Bible? Out of the mouths of babes,
I
you know?
right? So when he heard, I'm like, I'm trying to learn this Brent Mason solo, and he said, yeah, I think you could do that. And then when he got to your part, he's like, you can't do that.
Well, you've got to have a supportive family.
I know, right?
It kind of all starts there, doesn't it?
My question is, at the end of my video clip, you're always playing that in part. So it's stuck in my head, and I'm wanting to know how much of that is in your left hand versus pick strokes
The
in your right.
tappity stuff?
The
The shred tap stuff?
Yeah, when you come out of when the Mason solo ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shred stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that
All right.
junk.
Thank you.
So sometimes one of these little cheater things are cool because it'll mute out the guitar, get rid of your other unwanted things. If you notice when I was tapping earlier on the clean channel, there was like a little bit of string noise. This will eliminate that. Kind of help you along. The idea is that I'm taking all the pentatonic notes that we all know and love and almost hate. Literally this. Now I'm going to spread those out. Instead of playing it up here, 2 notes per string, as we do on Mel Bay page 3, we're going to put a bunch of notes on one string. Now we're going to continue to scale up. It's the same notes. And this continues in every position that you want to do it in. That's how that thing sounds like robots blowing up or whatever. But it's just a bunch of pentatonics, a bunch of Pentecostal licks, you know. You can also do some fun stuff. Now that we've opened up this toy chest, you can do some fun stuff with leaving notes out of it, okay? So instead of playing it fully linear with every note in the scale, you can leave notes out. You know, and then move it around from there. And frame out different chord voicings. I never had the reach standing up to do the Sean Lane licks, but you can get away with them by... You can get that thing rolling around too. Again, these are like kind of like having a wah pedal or a fuzz. You don't want to do this all the time. Man cannot live on shred alone, you know. Can't do it. But like, yeah, I'll walk you through. I'll give it to you note for note if you want. This is a great time to mention my new website store that has all backing tracks, tablatures, guitar profiles, and Axe-Fx tones and Helix tones. You just download that. You'll be able to do it in no time, I promise. That's at andywoodmusic.com. Thanks. So this one, I'm kind of taking that spread triad pentatonic thing and visualizing it. It's actually, even though I'm not playing down here, I'm using the same visualization. So it's like 1 minor 3 4 5. 1 minor 3 4 5 7. It's the same shape, right? You move it up a whole step in 2 seconds. It sounds effing crazy, but it's not. You know, it's like, it's really not that crazy. Add in some Van Halen skips and you got some cool stuff, but basically I'm taking the front. Now you have to have 24 frets to do that last note, so I encourage you to buy the Andy Wood model, sir. It's the only way you can do it. See what I'm saying? It's like still moving the pentatonic. It's literally the same thing. You know, it's not that far away from, you know, whatever that lick is that Guthrie does. It's not that far away from that thing. What is that lick? I think that's the first one, right? Yeah. I think that's it, right? Something like that. Oh, it's like, whatever the melody is. Yeah, I forgot it. It's been a long time. But yeah, it's that same kind of idea. And Guthrie's the source for that, man. When he came into my life as a player, it was like a nuclear bomb going off. Like, he's one of my favorite dudes. Again, why is it great? It's because Erotic Cakes is just full of great songs. Before he even lets the lid off of the album, like, the songs are great, you know? Same way with Petrucci, man. Haven't ever tried to play that. And it's like the melody's so good that I can assimilate it within 60% just by how great the melody is, you know? And tying your ear to your ear training and having to identify intervals is really powerful to allow you to do that same thing, right? So let's grab a different guitar. I know a lot of you guys ask for this guitar because you were messaging and commenting. This is a test mule. We don't know what we're going to do with it. But the fine folks at Sir entertain my foolishness from time to time. That's where this thing came from. These all came from just some dumb idea of going, hey, man, what if we took that modern Yale joint and put it on a telly? That'd be bitching, right? Yeah, let's do that. And so here we are, you know, 10 years later. This one's a test mule because I worship at the altar of Dan Huff, as one does. And a bunch of people were partnered to make this thing happen. Seymour Duncan got involved, and the Tyler guys got involved because Dan's main guitar is this old 64 Fender Strat that's been, you know, so I love the playability and the tone acoustically of Sir's. Like, I want to play this, but I wanted to have all the Dan spec stuff in it. So it's got the mid boost that's on but never rolled up, you know, if you know your Huff lore. And then it's got the series parallel switches. It's really killer, and it sounds like his thing, especially, you know, that neck pickup, right? Let's just get into that. Got that thing, right? You know, it's obviously way hotter with the preamp. Like, I would not use the blue channel. A lot of my LA heroes, man. I worshiped Lukather and Landau. I mean, when I first got on the Sir roster, it was just like, God, what am I doing here? All these guys are my dudes. Like, that's Mike Landau. He's right there. Look at him. So this song's kind of inspired by those guys in that era, right? it Baby Crying? I'm sorry, it'll be over soon. Do another song. Kind of leaning back into this guy's question, man. It's like, well, you know, how do you compose? How do you work? Where do you get inspiration from? One of my favorite songs of all time is by Alice in Chains. It's called Brewster. And I always thought it was a beautiful chord progression. You music nerds, it was always neat the way that the main heart of the song went from a B flat to an A, considering that the song is like blue. You know, it just had a really neat thing going on, and I was like, man, I wonder what it would look like if it kind of took a Jeff Beck style approach to the tune. So I was trying to be super reverent too and not mess it up because the song is so good. There's no money in that. Don't worry about that thing. But the song was so good that I was just like, man, I don't need to overthink it, or I just need to what does it sound like if you take Jerry's voice and Lane's voice at the same time and put them into a guitar? Because to me, I always thought that Jerry had the cooler part, right? Lane just, oh, here come the rooster, right? Jerry is, oh, here comes the rooster. You know, it's neat the way those kind of work together. So this is my take on that scene. No battery in the wah. I said, hey guys, it's great to be here at Firehouse Guitars. I know y'all are going to take such good care of me tonight. Is there any chance you've got a wah that I can borrow? It's like, yeah, man, no problem. Here's a couple to choose from. He smiles real big. Yeah, you have chosen poorly. That's all right. So I guess that's a great example of like the show don't stop, the song don't stop. You got to keep trucking, right? Make it happen. Whatever you got to do to keep it happening. So here's your wah back. Don't need that thing clearly. Okay. Any other questions? I think are we going to 7:30 tonight? Is that the key-ish? We could go a little bit longer if we need to. Okay. Let's get a couple of questions, rapid fire style. Starting with you. In the
Well,
blue.
hey Andy, you being the Tony Stark of guitar players, who by the way is my favorite Marvel character, I wanted to get your thoughts on how you came up with an idea of a 24 fret Telecaster, because that's always been my dream. And how has that impacted the way that you play guitar, having a 24 fret Tele?
Yeah, let's start right here. It's a more traditional, even though this has got a little bit of break to it, break angle. You know, Teles have this big block on them. And I was playing moderns because I was touring in a band called Down From Up. We were opening for like Seven Dust and Drowning Pool, and our band was kind of, you know, somewhere in that lane of inch sevenfoldy, like modern rock with guitar solos. And I was out, and I would see my picture. You know, I'd be trying to look cool on stage, and these guitars were gorgeous. I mean, you look on the Sir wall, flame tops, just look amazing. And I'd see a picture, and I was like, that doesn't look like, that guitar is like nice. It's better than I am, you know? And I would see pictures of me playing a Tele at a country gig or in a session. I was like, well, that's what I look like. And also with the style of music that my solo stuff is, I played more Teles. But the moderns played so dadgum good with the heel joint, it was like sculpted back. So it was less about having high E on the fretboard, and it was more about the heel joint being carved back and allowing the playability of a really hot modern guitar, but sounding more vintage and having that more classic tone, that timeless kind of sound. And the other thing was the neck pickup placement. You know, guys, I use a lot of neck pickup. And some guitars have the wheel back here and the neck pickups farther back. It was really important to have the neck pickup close to the end of the fretboard so it remained a nice spot sonically. And then that just allows, like I said, it's less about this thing. It's just like, man, when I play an E or F sharp or even G, I have to go all the way to playing an A before I even feel the heel joint in the back of my hand. And that's just something you don't get on a normal Telecaster, right? And it was coming up with that was just a problem solved. It was not to have a guitar with my name on it. It ended up there, but it was more about like, I need this to do a job. And I think that's where most great items that are signature items come from. You know, because you can put your logo and sticker on anything, and there's plenty of artists that just license thing, and it doesn't sound anything like the artist. You know what I mean? I always felt that was like a feel-bad thing. You'd get something like, this doesn't sound like him. And then you see him live, and it's like, hell, he's not even using it. You know what I mean? So I kind of like stole from the pages of my heroes, and like when you saw Ed Van Halen tour, it's like what it was. Like he played the Music Man that anybody could get. John Petrucci goes in and plays the Music Man anybody could get. So that's where all my gear, signature gear, comes from. Is like, this is what I would play if I didn't have a deal with Sir, you know. And it was interesting, and I think there's a really symbiotic thing. I'll tell you this real quick. I didn't have a resume when I started with Sir. I was 25 maybe, and you know, the biggest resume thing I had was I was in Down From Up, and we were opening for Seven Dust and Drowning Pool and those guys. But John had found me, in the A&R at the time, had found me on MySpace. I'd written a song, and like, he's like, man, you're really good. And so like, I guess long story short, or long, is that they believed me when I didn't have a career. And because those were the tools that I preferred, they helped me when I needed the help, and they helped me provide me with tools. They didn't make my career for me, but they provided tools, and thus my career happened. So, you know, now I look back 14 years later, and I'm like, yeah, I got this big-ass resume, and like I've done all these things, and, You know, other companies hit me up every year. Hey man, come play our stuff. We got a blank check. I'm like, yeah, but where were you? And even if that was the case, and I didn't have a deal with anybody, this is still the best fretwork in the industry, and I'll die on that hill. Compared, sir, to any guitar in here, their fretwork will be the best. And that's just my opinion. You may want it to feel like a chain link fence when you run down the neck. That may be what you're into. But for me, I want it to be as easy as possible because playing guitar is hard. And I don't need any other obstacles making me sound bad. I can do that myself. Or someone could hand me a wah with no battery in it, you know. Yeah. Another question? Blue, yeah. Actually, no. I love Danny Gatton, but he wasn't one of my guys growing up. I learned more of Danny Gatton licks when I was older than when I was younger. Like when I was younger, my big dudes, my Mount Rushmore was like Tony Rice. Let's just exclude bluegrass guys. So just electric guys. Brent Mason, number one. Eric Johnson, Steve Morse, Dan Huff, Diamond Rio's guitar player, Jimmy Olander, major influence. And I got to Danny later, but it was, oh man, John Jorgensen with the Helicasters. First signature guitar I ever had. I don't know if you guys ever had one in stock. They looked like a bowling ball, kind of like gold sparkle, like a bass boat. It was so ugly. But like, I just loved John Jorgensen and the Helicasters. And that was like the big gateway drug into fusion, and the dregs and stuff like that was Helicasters. So not that Danny Gatton's not awesome. He is. He's one of the greatest of all time. I just didn't get there, till I was older. I mean, same way with like John Sykes and Warren DeMartini and all these guys through the 80s, Reb Beach and Doug Aldrich and these monster players. They just weren't on my radar. I just didn't know. I was a cusp kid that like my age group, me, Tom Quill, Rick Graham, Martin Miller, we're all within a couple of years of each other. And our age group was like the first ones to get on Petrucci Forum and Rig Talk and Harmony Central, right? But also, there was no videos to see all the stuff like there is now. Like now, there's everything's been documented and it's on YouTube. At that time, you had to really dig, and it would always be like this. Oh my God, did you see where the whatever got uploaded? I remember when Austin City Limits got uploaded. I was like, finally, it lives forever, because I kept wearing out VHS tapes that people had recorded on their, their TVs or whatever. Same way with the Brent Mason REH VHS. I had that, and I wore out 2 copies trying to learn this one lick and the thing, But yeah, so next, yeah.
So I forget who the manufacturer is, but it's a thumb pick that you can also use as a pick. And I noticed you're not doing that. You're kind of doing some sleight of hand, hiding the pick. Where do you suggest, if you're not using one of those, where you keep the pick if you're just doing thumb picking? And then also, your other 3 fingers, what would you suggest for guitar players that want to not just use that as for accent stuff, but also to have the same sound as maybe the flat pick? Is that kind of what your thoughts are on the other 3 fingers, or are those just sort of accents for you?
Yeah, that's an in-depth question, really good question. I'm going to preface it. The most important thing is do what feels good, do what sounds good. Don't listen to me, don't listen to the internet, don't listen to anybody. That's how I got there. I just searched. And if I have middle finger that works really well, my pinky doesn't work well. So when I see Brett Garson do a lick, I try to learn the lick, but I'm not going to learn it like Brett because my pinky sucks on my right hand. That's the most important thing. Do what works for you. Now, with that said, when I'm doing the slide stuff, I kind of tuck it here. So like you see me do this thing a lot, for the... It's like in there. But for the Brent thing, it's just, God, I don't know. It's like, I always just wanted it to sound like him. So like, he plays like this. Or actually it's like this. He plays that riff like this because his first finger doesn't have a nail on it. So he plays thumb, middle, thumb, down. Thumb, middle, thumb, ring, thumb, middle, thumb, ring. That's how Brent alternate picks, quote unquote. And he leaves the first finger for... And And I was like, man, there's not enough time on earth for me to master that. So I'm going to use what I'm good at, which is this thing, because good Lord bless me with some good alternate picking. You know, I put in the time playing mandolin, and there is no other way but to pick a note, because there's no sustain, there's no hammer-ons, or very little, right? And so I just kind of kept working on the Brent thing till I found the right spot in my fingers. Even with a little grit, it'll go a long way for that. That right there, you can hear a little bit of the fingernail callus thing making it bright versus, just listen to the difference. You hear how it's like one sounds like this and one doesn't? That's the kind of stuff I got way down the rabbit hole on in the weeds. And then the riff would start to come. I just treated the pick like the downstroke from his thumb, right? And same way with those those kind of licks, right? It was like trying to get that. It's all got to start with this. It's got to have that snap on the top. If you ain't got that, it's not really it. When you're talking about the free-range chicken solo, a lot of guys I'm seeing tag me in it and stuff, they're playing it like this. They're really doing this. Listen at the difference. It's got to be the fingers. It's got to have that that spank to it. So it was like, to me, it was like never really worrying about how Brent does it, because I knew that was off the table. You know, like you got to figure out my own way to make it sound right. And if you really wanted to be accurate, we would plug in one of those deluxes. I would get the single coil version of this guitar, and it's better to have one of those driven up for that classic Brent thing, because this doesn't sound exactly like it. This is just an approximation. But this combination allows me to get close enough to where if I play one of those licks, everybody in the room goes, oh, he's from Tennessee, you know, right? It allows me to have as many colors on the palette as possible at once. Because I do love to go from Van Halen to Joe Pass to Brent Mason. Like, I like this broad spectrum of music, you know. Great question, though. The answer is I don't know. I just practice, and listen. The number one thing you do is listen to the sounds. Does it sound more like it if it's, or does it sound more like this? Like this one sounds more like Brent, right? You know, and there's going to be shortcuts, like that second section. I have to use the pick to do it because it's too twisted out. The really great lick in that one is. Just a gold mine of licks on that Hot Wired record. Oh, thanks. I didn't write it. Brent did, you know. But yeah, get into that Hot Wired record. It'll get you there, you know. be real mad at yourself for a real long time. I think there's a fellowship there about the guitar in general, right? And like now it's interesting because I'm getting on stage with my heroes, you know, and then after the shows we're having conversations, and there's that, yeah, man, you sat in your house too for 30 years and didn't do anything else. And I think there's that camaraderie that makes the music special because you can't buy it. You can't have somebody give it to you. Your dad can't love you enough to give it to you. You have to practice. It can't be bought. There's not enough money to buy enough gear to get there. And I think that's the beautiful thing when you see a player that you love to listen to. You're like, there's only one way he got there. He sat in his room and figured it out. And there's not a video. It pisses me off to see these videos. The real way to play Steve Lukather's Rosanna, note for note. I'm like, oh yeah, because you still don't sound like Luke, wise guy. You're using all of the correct picking directions and the stuff and the thing, and you still don't sound like him. You have to listen. There's always a guy on the internet that's not teaching, that's just covering something, and he's the most humble, probably doesn't have his head in the videos, you know. Not using the real gear, probably some Black Star or whatever, and they'll sound closer to Clapton than the guy that's telling you the 100% way to play the Clapton solo, right? It's because the hands and the listening, that's got to come first. I mean, you can hear it on the guitar with no stuff, you know? That one sounds different. It's got that real spitty kind of thing from the pops. And if you're not giving the guitar the input that it needs, none of this stuff matters. None of the EQs or anything matter because it's not seeing the signal that's correct. And that signal doesn't mean is he finger picking or is he not. There's a really great young player, Matteo Mancuso, that I've really been into lately because he's got a lot of these wide fourth bass kind of things. These kind of things. These kind of really crazy wide stretches, and he plays like this. So I've been trying to assimilate how I can figure out a way to do it. Or whatever. It's like the thing is I'm not going to be able to do it the way he does, but I can get the information and try to find a way to make it my thing. Or like Andre Neary's another great player, another great artist who's got some really fun, those kind of lines that are just really bananas. But if you watch Andre do it, he does it like this. There's not enough time on earth for me to get that, but I can get this. And I sound cleaner doing it. I sound more like Andre doing it my way than I do doing it Andre's way. You see what I'm saying? Because the sound is what matters, not how you got there. It's not the journey. It's what the end result is. And if anybody wants to know that lick, it's just taking a minor 7 arpeggio. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 5. You see, it's just 3, 5, 7, 1 or 1, 3, 5, 7 or 5, 7, 3, 1, 7, right? They just keep inverting. So it sounds bananas when you hear it because it sounds like a sequencer. You know what I mean? And you can still sequence it all out from there. Keep the whole thing rolling around. Let's see. Yeah, here's a fun one that I like. it's like around the pentatonic thing. It's like that kind and then you start doing the tapping thing, and it all starts blurring together. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's like taking little bits and then you carve out your own thing, right? Yeah, really good. Question? Yeah. Am I a Reb Beach fan? Hell yeah, I'm a Reb Beach fan. Yeah, he's awesome. And he's a sweetheart of a dude. And he can also play the guitar with more gain than I've ever seen. It's like, I could never play his rig. It'd be like riding a bull or something. It's like active pickups, boost pedal, Suramp, dined. I'm just like, dude, how does it just not go wah, the whole time? But like when he plays, it's Reb Beach, you know. Again, it's like he got there the way Reb can get there. And here's something I hope this is encouraging to all you guys, old, young, whatever. There's enough room at the table for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like you're not gonna get there where you want to be because you can't play like Ted Green, hey man, welcome to the other 99.9% of humanity. None of us can play like Ted Green, but you can probably find something that's you. You know? Find the things that make you you. When you go to the blues jam, don't feel bad because you don't sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Hey, guess what? None of us do either. But do you think that's on Satriani's mind when he goes to, play a blues? No. You think it's on Scott Henderson's mind that he doesn't sound like his favorite players? No, it's probably the farthest thing Scott Henderson wants to be. He doesn't want to be any of his players. He wants to be the most Scott Henderson. Greatest quote I ever heard. I was standing there, and it was one of these things. It was like NAMM, and somebody goes, "Hey, Scott, man, I really love your outside playing." He goes, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "So what do you think of like when you're playing outside?" And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Okay, over a D minor triad, like how do you play outside?" And he goes, "Well, I'm sure as hell not going to play D, F, or A." And I was like, it's really that simple, right? He's not going to play any of the D triad. But Scott's so brilliant that he knows it's about the resolution. It's not, there's not some plug and play patch board to make it sound cool. You have to find the things that, like, if you are going to do something like that, here's the D minor triad. So he's saying, I'm not going to play this, this, or this. So he's looking at, there's all of Scott's outside notes. And he's like, I'm aiming for those, and now I need to figure out how to make them work. And it sounds like nonsense when you do them in that format, but if you played a line that was... it's just a bunch of outside notes that don't fit. All those things don't fit. But if you sell it... choice. You want one off the new record, or you want me to attempt to do that Steve Morse tune? I'll play it. Huh? Yeah, you want me to do it? I'll try it. We'll see how bad this sounds. I'm still working on that song. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is an awful decision. All right. That was on there, and I do not need that anywhere near that side of the neck to play this thing. Let's do this one more time. fun one, man. God love him. Steve Morse is one of the greatest that's ever played. And I probably wouldn't even be sitting up here playing for you guys if it wasn't for his influence on me and all the things that that music meant to me, like Dixie Dregs and Steve and everybody. So do one more and then do a giveaway. Is that cool? Yeah. All right. Let's do one more tune. I didn't play this one at all while I was at Sweetwater, so I'll play it for you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with us tonight. It was super fun. We're going to do some giveaways thanks to the Sir guys and the Firehouse Guitars, right? Right? Yeah, make some noise. You want some free stuff? We got to get them liquored up next time before the giveaway.
All right, everyone, let's hear it one more time. Mr. Andy Wood. So a huge shout out and a huge thank you to Andy for coming here on his clinic schedule. A huge thank you to Sir and Chris Clarkson We could not do this without the amazing support of our vendors, especially from Sir. So, as a reminder, there are a lot of guitars on sale tonight. There is one really sweet sounding amp that is nice and warmed up for you. Also on sale, he'll autograph it. He's already blessed it for you, so definitely come talk to one of the guys about that. But you are here also because you want to win some stuff. So, if you did not enter, I'm sorry, you cannot win. So, we have, first up today, we have a set of the Woodshed single coil pickups, and Andy's signature pickups here. So, first winner today goes to Anna DeWeird.
Anna!
Hey, in the house.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations. Sweet, sweet. So, second giveaway today, we're giving away a set of the Woodbuckers, his signature pickups, which you have been hearing. That's what's in that one, right?
Yeah. So
So-
yeah, it's what's in this and the new anniversary models as well.
Sweet. So, if you have those, you will sound just like him.
For sure.
For sure. So, winner of these wonderful pickups goes to James Cash. Hey, right here, front row.
He said they're gonna go in his PRS. It'll be the best that guitar's ever sounded, right, Chris?
Perfect.
You can go ahead and send that to Paul and Rich and Bev. They'll love it. He said right before his new Sir, he said he's gonna buy one of those Andy Wood models.
All right, perfect. Next up, we have a wonderful Sir Eclipse pedal here in the blacked out edition. So this one goes to Leighton Schroeder.
Nice.
Hey, all right, 3 for 3. Congrats, man. Congrats. All right, one more. Last but certainly not least, you've been hearing it all night. This is the signature Andy Wood compressor.
MSG for your tone, baby.
That's right. Get you some of that. So, last but certainly not least, the winner is Brandon Lardy.
Yeah.
All right, all four. All right, perfect. So that concludes all of the events for tonight. We're going to have Andy stick around. He has merch on sale, so definitely come see one of us. Shirts are $30.
Shirts are $30, and if you want to keep up with where I'm at and what I'm doing and tour dates, no matter who it's with, that's all going to be on andywoodmusic.com, and that's where merch, if we don't have your size, I was about to say if they don't have your size, it'll be on that website as well. And if you want to be a part of our community, that we do weekly live Zoom master classes. So this every week is on patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. So join us over there. I think there's some patrons in the house tonight. So yeah, thank you Woodshed community for being part of this. Thanks Firehouse.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Definitely grab a shirt, $30 on those. Grab a guitar, more than $30 on those. We'll have Andy stick around at the back end, form a line. He'll be able to autograph whatever you want there. And otherwise, thank you for coming. We'll announce more clinics hopefully soon, so stay tuned for that. We'll see y'all.